So what are you playing right now?
I had literally just switched to the intro. And I hadn't had you muted, but it's fine. Alright, I'm going into a commercial right now. And then we'll be going after that, but I'm doing that to test some sound.
Fight on, fighter. Don't let anyone steal your fire. Fight on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Lugz Racing League fundraiser for tonight's event here at Talladega Speedway. I'm Chris Spear, and joining me up in the booth is Jared Carr. Jared, we're at a pretty huge track here tonight.
Yeah, we are the 2.66 mile super speedway, the largest track in NASCAR. It should be a great race. It's going to be a lot of action all night long.
It certainly is, and this thing is for cash. These guys are out here driving for money here tonight. Top three positions are going to make it money here tonight, and they will be glad to do so. It's going to be a hard-fought night, though. This is a tough track. A lot of cars side-by-side racing all the time. They're in practice right now. Right now they're in practice session here, and it seems like everything is calm right now, but it won't be by the end of the race, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think this race is going to be action-packed. I mean, when money's on the line, I mean, that means that you're going to give it everything you got. And you can make aggressive moves tonight, and I expect to see that from these drivers here tonight.
And you're absolutely right. Looking at our race logo here. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to pull it up. And it seems like I've got an issue with my overlays. We'll be right back to fix those. Oh man, that sucks.
What happened?
And we are back as these guys are out here now doing qualifying, getting ready for tonight's event, following along currently with Trevor Absher in that number 19 Bass Pro Shops, Pro Shops Toyota Camry here tonight. And these guys during practice were putting on some pretty decent lap times, Jared. They were certainly aggressive with the draft early on, and during practice, that's especially races like this is the time to do it, just because you have no worries about damaging your car early on.
Yeah, exactly right. These guys are going to have a fast repair available to them, so they can be a little bit more aggressive. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think these guys are still going to run it out, and like a normal race would be. But I think that these guys are going to push the limit, like we were talking about earlier. As you see, these guys starting to get look like we're going to have a few guys get some laps in. But the first lap on qualifying, all these drivers going to run the high side, trying to wind this thing up as much as they can for the second lap.
They certainly will, and a lot of different drivers here do a lot of different things under qualifying, Jared. You got that first lap. A lot of guys like to ride the outside wall to try to get as much speed up as possible for that second lap. And then that second lap, you try to make every one of these corners as straight as possible.
Yeah, you do. You don't want basically want to keep that car glued to the yellow line the entire way around this track, and on your second lap, because any little bit movement, and that'll cost you some time. And you want to, like you said, square off as much as you can. We might even see some drivers, although I don't know if the Cup car is as forgiving, but I have seen it in the past where they'll cut the tri-oval and get down there below the yellow line, because the yellow line rule doesn't really apply in qualifying.
No, it certainly does not. And looking at your race logo here, this is the Firecracker 200 at Talladega Speedway, sponsored by Jack Dowel Motorsports and Esports. Jack Dowel has been a great sponsor for us here, contributing to tonight's prizes and winnings for these drivers. It's going to be an interesting, fun race, and qualifying's just about over. We'll grid them up, and then we'll be all set to start this thing here tonight. 2.66 miles. It's Talladega. We know that there's going to be the big one at any given time. You know that it's just around the corner. You're going to have to watch out for all of that. Looking at the weather setup here, really, you got the wind blowing out of the north, 6 miles an hour. The track temperature is roughly 95 degrees, Jared. A little bit slick, a little bit hot. Actually, it's 102 degrees, my bad. It is 76 degrees out on the track. And the humidity, 38%. A little bit different here as the weather is generated for this race. Kind of mixes things up, and it also means that it's a little bit tricky, because you can end up with some wind down the back straightaway here, make these cars weave and bob a little bit more.
Yeah, when you had that headwind coming down the straightaway, you can have the car kind of bogged down. When you have the wind at a tailwind, you're exactly right, Chris. These cars are going to be a handful down those straightaways, and I think that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on, as this is realistic weather, dynamic skies, so we will see that wind shift a little bit. Right now, east at 6 miles an hour, as you were talking about earlier.
And we are getting them here as the qualifying, I believe, has just ended. Excuse me. And a lot of drivers here are going to be electing to not make a qualifying lap, Jared. It's a 5-lap race. They think that their best shot is to be able to start in the back.
Yeah, I think, that's always a good strategy, in my opinion. Start at the back, let the kind of carnage happen in front of you, and then see what you can do as the race goes on. So I like that call by those drivers.
And there you have it. That is the end of qualifying, and we're going to stack them up, take a look at it. Looking at your front row here, you got Kevin Winker on the pole. Right beside him, Matt Mackin. Behind them on row 2 is going to be Drew, I'm going to butcher your last name, but I'll try it anyway, Ballesteros. And fourth will be Jamison Middlemiss. Right behind them, Wayne Bowen in the number 11, and Wade Palmer the 5th in the 24. Rounding out your top 10, William Kurskuska, Jesse Calloway, Nathan De Rosa, and Bobby Justice in the 53. And following them, your row number 6, Jared.
Row number 6, you got Jesse Weiss and Wade Palmer the 4th back there. Kent, Ellert and Marcus Newbacher in row number 7. Row 8's got Trevor Abster and Charles Stephen. Row number 9, Pete Woodrum and Jimmy Abster in that one. Row 10, Rye Lewis and Kenny Coppola back there.
In row 11, you got Jeff Pogo and Tommy Kelly on the outside. Behind them, Finn Robinson and Tim Wortman Jr. And behind them, you got Warren Young and Guy Bonifield, John Bowado Jr. and John Bowado III, Jeffrey Oates, Sean Rhodes, and Kenneth Stamper rounding out your field here tonight in the 31st position. That is certainly a long ways to go if you're back there as Kenneth is, but it's a long race, and we know that this track, Jared, is really good for multiple things. A lot of cautions and being able to move quickly to the front.
Yeah, exactly right, Chris, and that's exactly what I think we're going to see here tonight. And it's a wide track. I mean, this isn't Daytona where it's a little bit narrow, and these guys, the third lane can get kind of crazy out there. This is a very wide track, and drivers 3 wide, no problem. I would be surprised to see some 4 wide action as well.
Certainly, I would not be either. This track is certainly wide enough for it here tonight, but it'll be interesting to see whether or not these guys decide to go ahead and make things rowdy up at the very beginning or not. Never know exactly how it's going to go, but we'll have it all right here. These guys now under pace lap here, following the pace car. You can kind of get an idea there as Winkler in that 57 Menards car is leading them around here behind the pace car.
A lot of great paints out here. I mean, a good field, good sized field here. 31 drivers taking the grid here, all for some fundraising activities, some money on the line here tonight. And man, it's going to be exciting. And I don't know who the favorite is in this race, but that's the beauty of super speedway racing.
It certainly is, and with this being a complete fundraiser, a lot of these guys, they don't know each other. Now, because it is a league-type race, there are a couple of league drivers in here that do have teammates, and we'll catch you up on that as we're able to do so throughout the broadcast here tonight. A lot of different drivers from the Lugz Racing League out here racing with different guys, so that way we can figure out a way to fund our league. This is what this is all about. Kind of helps with broadcasts similar to what we're doing now, Jared. It's going to be a great thing for the league, and it's going to be a great thing for the top 3 finishers as we do have the payout. They have one quick repair here tonight. That's going to come in handy after getting involved in wrecks, but the key is going to be to save that until as long as possible. We're about to go green.
There we are. Pace car makes that left-hand turn, and this field's packing up, Chris, ready to go. And it's a long, long way down to that start-finish line.
It's certainly at the middle of the tri-oval, like you would imagine. It is interesting how these guys are going to have to deal with everything that's going on here. And excuse me, it looked like my overlays is frozen on a random screen. As we're taking the green here, Matt Mackin's going to lead them to the start. He gets a great jump on the outside there.
Got a 9 car on the outside line. He gets a great jump. The 57 did not get going. He had the 22 all over the back bumper of him, but couldn't do it. Now the 57 with a gigantic run on the 9. 9 pulls down to block that. 16 all by himself on the outside back there. That is Jamison Middlemiss. He is just dropping like a rock. So is the 53 as well.
He certainly is, and that can be a strategy here early on, Jared, as we look to get this thing underway. A lot of different drivers are going to try to do a lot of different things here.
Yeah, they are, and you look down, this group has already separated themselves out. We have a little bit of a breakaway already. 20 cars in this breakaway, and then 21st and all the way back is already separated out. We got a car blinking back there, and that's not good to be already 3 seconds behind the lead pack after 1 lap.
No, it certainly isn't. As we're looking through the top field here, now you can actually see that breakaway as we're looking on our our long shot here, Jared. You've got a lot of guys that are just way back into the back of this pack. Not too worried at this point. A lot of these guys kind of just content to ride around here with it being just lap 2 of the 75 lap event.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing they can do about it now unless they all get together, and sometimes that doesn't even work. But we got 3 wide action, 16, little door bump to the 9 machine up in this front pack, 3 wide. The 9 car, who led the first lapper, has dropped all the way to the end of this group.
He certainly has. That's Matt Mackin in that number 9. Matt Mackin started there in second place. We talked about how he got the lead early on and led that first lap, but now he's content to fall to the back of this lead pack here. You can kind of see a little bit damage on that number 9 machine. Nothing that's probably going to hurt him too bad, but at least not when he's behind a lot of different drivers. But he's already decided it may be best for him to go ahead and follow back into the back of this pack and ride around. Definitely don't want to be caught up in a big one this early on.
No, you don't. You don't want to be caught up in a wreck. I mean, that's not going to do you any good in this race to be knocked out of the race. But these guys getting single file in this first pack. You look at that second pack, they've gotten single file, and Sean Rhodes is off the back by himself in 31st position. He has already dropped 3 seconds behind. And the 9 car is on pit road, Chris. Matt Mackin.
He certainly is. We'll have follow along here because right now that is the most interesting action on the track, even though it's on pit road, Jared. That's just how bad of a moment this is. We'll have to see what happens to this 9 car if he comes in to get a fast repair or not. A little bit of damage on the front. He could be overheating already in this race.
He could be. It is fixed setup, so there isn't a lot of tape on these vehicles, but there still could be some issues on those the heating aspect, depending on what he hit or how he hit it. But he is going to probably lose a lap. But if he times this right, if he's able to get off pit road, which it doesn't look like he is, he's definitely going to lose a lap here.
Yeah, definitely going to lose a lap as the rest of the field will easily go on by him. He's the only one on pit road. You saw it pop up there in the bottom of the screen showing that he was on pit road. Looking back at the lead, though, it is Kevin Winker in the 57. He had the pole, did not lead the first lap, Gary, but he led every lap since.
Yeah, he's done a great job. In the 22, who's right behind him, 87, Jesse Callaway in third. All these drivers behind him, Callaway, De La Rosa, Weiss, Earhart, all have moved up at least 5 positions. Earhart, at the end of this group, he has moved up 7 spots already. So these guys making moves and moving forward already at the beginning of this race.
They certainly are. And Ehlert there in that 6th position. Behind him in the number 11 is actually one of his teammates. And behind him, another teammate. You can see those Joe Gibbs Racing and Levine Family Racing cars, 95, the 11, and 19. They're regulars in our Cup Series, Jared, and they know how to work together. That's why they've been able to make their way up here to catch their teammate Wayne Bowen and even get into this lead pack, as you mentioned it.
Yeah, they have, and they were doing a good job of doing that. But it looks like they're content to make it to just kind of ride right there where they're at right now. The 87 with a gigantic run down the back straightaway, but he doesn't pull out. I mean, he doesn't make that move. Kind of checks everybody up a little bit behind them, and that's the thing you get at super speedways, especially with this fixed setup. 0% tape on this setup, and that means these guys will have a massive amount of tow, but getting that run to go is going to be really difficult.
It certainly is, and it seems we got a little bit of connection issue there with you on that commentary there, Jared, but it seems to clear up now. Behind Trevor Absher and Wayne, got Wade Palmer the 4th and Wade Palmer the 5th in reverse order there. Sorry, the 5th is in the front of those two. Those two are actual teammates, and as you might kind of guessed, they're a father and son duo.
Hey, Chris, I'm looking. Looks like we got a couple people having some issues with the audio and the video there. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on there, but we'll definitely get it fixed for you guys at home. But right now, these guys battling hard up front.
They certainly are, and really they're mostly content to ride alone. We're going to go back here and try to catch up with that second pack. Looks like it's led here by Bobby Justice and Rye Lewis and Jameson Middlemas in that 16. That's a group of, it's like 6 cars. They're about to go past Mark Bucker, who's pulled that car all the way to the high side and is content to ride around up there. That is Marcus in the number, I believe, 18 machine here tonight.
And he's dropping toward the back of this group. The 16 car, he was up in that front pack, qualified really well, and he just got freight trained at the beginning of this race. He's already down 14 spots and dropped all the way back to this second group. You see the 41 with a big shot to the 53. The 53 was the fastest driver in practice, so we know he can get to the front as this race goes on.
We certainly do, and it'll be interesting to watch exactly what happens to this second pack and how they're able to kind of catch up to that lead pack. And it looks back up front that we've kind of split that first group up, and now Ken Ellert, his teammates, kind of fallen behind him. That's Wayne Bowen behind them. I don't know exactly what happened, but it looks like as Wayne Bowen goes around.
11 car hard impact. Also, this looks like the 17 involved as well. Tough break.
It certainly was, and we were riding along with that. We'll see if we can pull up a replay of it so that way you guys can see it from back home. But man, oh man, that one, it looks like they had an issue like that before, and really just a little bit of aggressive pushing there going into the corner, Jared.
Yeah, and then that's what happens at the Talladega. You get a little bit of a run, and all of a sudden, that run turns into a wreck if you're not careful, and that looked like what may have happened there with those drivers.
And Jared, that's going to be an interesting thing for a lot of these different guys. That's Wayne Bowen and Jeff Pogo that seems to be collected in this race.
Yeah, some big names already with significant damage here, and we'll have to see how that kind of affects them moving forward as this race is just only 10 laps in. But I'll tell you, Chris, it does help out that second group that have lost a lot of time back there, so it's going to be this was kind of beneficial for them.
It certainly is, and looks like our live button is currently not working on our overlay system, Jared, so having to kind of do it the old-fashioned way.
These guys are heading down pit road right now. Everybody down pit road. It looks like nobody gambling. I'm a little bit disappointed. I figured maybe somebody might gamble deep in the pack, but everybody coming in, and we'll top off fuel and get some tires.
They certainly will, and you can along now as we've caught up with the road. You can actually see the 57, the 22 right there at the end of pit road. They are going to be the first ones, looks like, off. It looks like pretty much everyone is elected to just take fuel only or 2 tires here, Jared.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's just topping off fuel. Very quick pit stops. We do have some drivers maybe taking 4 tires a little bit deeper in the pack. The 22 and the 87 and the 69 of Jesse Weiss looked like they all took 4 tires on that pit stop.
It'll be an interesting strategy here as we are only just a few laps kind of into this race here, and we'd already seen a lot of separation between a couple different packs. And while we have this moment, we're going to take a quick
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. A pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
And Jared, we are back here at Talladega Superspeedway. After a quick commercial break, you've got the first caution of the night came on lap 10. We're about to go green here. You can see the drivers have stacked them back up here. Up front, it's going to be Kevin Winker, Nathan De La Russa, Drew Belarestos, Trevor Absher, and Jesse Calloway. 5 behind them, Charles Stevens, Pete Woodrum, Jesse Wise, Tommy Kelly, and Kenny Coppola in the 10th position. They're going to stack them up here. Really kind of a lucky break that not many more guys were involved in that wreck, Jared. It happened right there in that second group, and they were still 2-3 groups behind that were able to check up and avoid.
Yeah, exactly right, Chris. And I think these guys are going to get that thing re-racked. And like I said before, the guys that have fallen off the back of the lead group, very fortunate now as they're 12 laps in, they get a reset on that.
I gotta say though, Jared, it was a little bit more calm than I think that I would have expected here in the first 10 laps of this race, with that front group getting single file so early on and just content to ride around here.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's usually what happens at these super speedway races a lot of times, even when there's a lot on the line. Guys usually find their spot because they realize that, you're not going to be able to win the race in 12 laps. It's a 75-lap race, so I think these guys realizing that and are going to play a little bit conservative here.
They certainly are, and the pace car will be making its way down pit road here shortly. But Jared, even when it does, these drivers have to go through the tri-oval here before they even can get to a restart zone. All the greens in this race are on iRacing, is not on the driver here, as a way to keep the competition as friendly as possible and everyone fair here tonight.
You got a lot of guys checking up already in this middle of this pack here, and some confusion maybe deeper in the group as they're not lined up 2 by 2. But here we go. We're about to get this thing started, Chris.
They certainly are, and you can see it there in the back as we switch to our blimp mode there for a minute. But now it's back green. The 57 Winker is going to take the lead, kind of leading them into turn 1, but still side by side is De La Russa.
De La Russa on the outside doing a great job there. This restart a little bit better for these guys, but these two top guys, 26 and 22 there, they are really pushing this time, doing a little side draft down the back straightaway. You have to do the side draft now. It's very prevalent in iRacing. In the last update, they're trying to break apart that second run, but the 57 jumped out to that lead, Chris, and he is going to be able to hold on to it. The 26 and the 22 aren't going to be able to stay anything on the outside without some help.
They certainly aren't, and that's one thing that we know for certain, is that if you're going to make anything happen here tonight, you're going to have friends behind you to help get you to the front. The outside lane may work later on when you can gather up a bunch of guys together to actually push, but right now that inside line is where you need to be.
Yeah, but the 26 and the 22 doing a good job. They're going to get somebody to join them up there. That's the 41. He elects to go back in line. And now the 77 trying to pull up on that outside line. If the 41 can get up there, I think if they can play the side draft correctly, they can do it. But it looks like the 41 bails out again.
It does. The 41 of Rye Lewis there, looking like he's kind of trying to play both lanes. And the 22 now darts down low. Everyone's making a single file. The only one out on the outside line there is going to be, I believe that's Kenny Coppola in the 77.
Yeah, it is. He is trying to get something going, but he's going to get hung out to dry there. They're getting single file already. And again, just like before, Chris, we have a second pack that's dropped off. That's that 9 car of Matt Macklin and Wade Palmer. They're by themselves, just 2 of them. And then the 16 of Jamison Middlemas is there in a 3-car pack. And then further back, we got, a few other drivers kind of straggling back here. So I don't know what happened, but these guys are all straggled out back here. And that's going to be tough to recover from without another caution.
It certainly is. You mentioned Matt Mackin and Wade Palmer, the 4th there. Those two actually teammates as well in that number 9 Hendrick Motorsports ride and the 43 Petty Motorsports ride. Behind them, Jameson Middlemas kind of left on his own as far as teammate-wise go. Kenneth Stamper behind him, Guy Bonifield, Jeffrey Oates, and once you get to Jeffrey Oates, you've got 1, 2, 3 the Jack Dowel Motorsports drivers in together, but Jeffrey Oates kind of a little bit farther ahead of John Bowaldo III and John Bowaldo Jr. there behind them. But up front, It is still Kevin Winkler ahead of Trevor Apsher as these guys are still single file up for the front. Behind them, though, you have to go all the way back to, let's see, that is Wayne Bowen and Marcus Newbacher that are side by side there. And it actually looks like it's William Krusleska.
These guys trying to make something happen again. The 22 car jumped to the outside line, and he's going to get freight trained on the inside as the 22 jumps down, trying to get in the line. Just can't quite do it there. And he's going to drop back. But these guys, again, that front pack, again, Chris, separated into two packs. The second pack kind of led by, looks like right now, Ken Ellert in that number, William Krasuska in that number 6 machine is leading that second pack. He's got somebody coming off pit road there after making a pit stop.
Yeah, and that looks like Finn Robinson, who looks like he jumped to the pits. He may have actually missed the start of this race and is jumping in now, but we'll have to find out what exactly happened to him later on.
Yep. It looks like, actually, Chris, it looks like that he connection dropped, so it looks like he's just coming back in circle.
And Finn Robinson, he's actually not on this side of the country because he is across the pond, if you will.
There you go. Getting some oval racing done tonight for Finn Robinson.
He certainly is. But up front, Kevin Winker, sorry. A lot of guys in here who I don't actually personally know, Jared, so I'm trying to get their names right. I'm sure I'm not getting every one of them right, but we'll do our best. He is leading this pack. Trevor Absher behind him, and Jesse Calloway, Jesse Wise, and Charles Stevens make up your top 5.
Yeah, these guys just getting back in that rhythm once again, just kind of filling out the race, trying to figure out what their stuff can do. As we are 18 laps into the 75-lap race, we definitely have at least 1 pit stop, possibly 2 pit stops left. So no need to really press at this point in time. But this group, Chris, this top 8 group has really figured out something that the rest of the group hasn't, as they've been able to break away again. As you see right behind them, the 24 of Wade Palmer, the 5th, there in 9th. He's dropped off the back with Drew Ballesteros and Ken Ellert.
Yeah, those two are trying to make their way back up to that lead pack, and really they're kind of pulling away from Ken Ellert there behind them in that 95 car. It just seems like they're able to draft with each other a little bit tighter, and Ken's not able to close up on that number 22.
Yeah, it looks like that might be part of the problem, is that these guys are just not able, maybe some damage. I don't see any damage on any of these vehicles, but there's definitely something that happened there that caused a little bit of a separation there. The 95 definitely dropping off the back, though. He's definitely not able to suck up for some reason.
No, he's not. And looking behind them, you've got that second group led by the number, I believe it's the number 6 there. It kind of looks like number 8 on your screen, of William Krasuska, with behind him Wayne Bowen, Kenny Coppola, Tommy Kelly, and Tim Wortman Jr., Bobby Justice, and Marcus Newbacher making that second little, well, I guess that's actually our third group here. This group here is really making up some time, though, on Ken Ellert. They'll be catching him pretty soon.
Yeah, that number 6, and that is definitely an 8 on the side of that machine. But listed in the server is number 6, William Krasuka. That group is catching quick to that kind of middle group there of the 95, the 22, and the 24. And if they can catch up to him, I think that they could make that run back to the front of this pack, if they keep single file. But if they start getting racy, and if somebody gets impatient, as you got 2 drivers with damage right behind them, that's the 11 of Wayne Bowen, and then the 11 of Wayne Bowen, apologies, in there. And we also have a lap down car, it looks like, somewhere in this group. I think that might be the 8 car actually in this group, of Jeff Pogo.
And Wayne Bowen there in the 11, he was caught up in that first wreck, and you can see it. The rear end of his car is just completely demolished at the moment.
Yeah, he is. And that 6 car of William Krasuka's got some damage on the front. And this second group, they got starting the battle. The 77, Kenny Coppola, is going to drag the 3 machine of Tommy Kelly and the 83 machine of Tim Wortman on the outside. And I don't know if this is a good idea, as they're catching up to the 17 machine, who is a little bit off pace here.
They certainly are, and those are actually 3 teammates, Kenny Coppola, Tommy Kelly, and Tim Wortman Jr., are part of the RCR and Aspire Motorsports. Actually, that's my team that I'm not racing with tonight, Jared.
Well, there you go. Let's get maybe some rooting interest, but this guy, sometimes you can find some speed by going side by side. It really depends on how the race is going, but looks like these guys did find a little bit of speed there, as they are not too far now behind Rye Lewis in the 41, and the 41 dropping off the back. He got dropped from the first group, and he is dropping even further back. That car, something has happened to the 41. I don't see anything on the telestrator, but yeah, something has definitely happened to the 41.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. As you can see up ahead, whereas we follow along with Kenny Coppola's cockpit cam, you can actually see that the speed at which this second little group or third group here is catching that number 41, and as they're racing side by side in front of Coppola. And as we get closer here, you can really see the draft and how it impacts these cars. Kenny has to get completely out of it here just so he doesn't get into them, and oh, they're touching in front of him.
Whoa, 83 holds on to it. Jet Pogo got in the back of the 83 and of the 8. And those guys, I don't know how they didn't just pile them up right there, Chris, but they managed to hold that thing together.
They certainly do. And really, we're riding along here. Now we're going to switch to Tommy Kelly's cockpit view. You can kind of see here, it's almost impossible to see 2-3 cars in front of you as you're getting up and bump drafting these other cars. It makes things really, really difficult. And one thing about these super speedway races is that 2 cars can bump draft together really, really well, but when you put the third one in there, everyone starts to get sideways.
Oh, big time, and that's exactly what happened there, it looked like. And unfortunately for Jet Pogo, he was trying to get a lap back, a little door sliding there between the 41 and the 95, as they've been caught by the second group, and the side draft got a little bit aggressive there, but the 8 car was one of the guys that lost a lot of time. 83 makes a big move on the outside. He's got a huge run trying to gain some of that time back.
He certainly is, and that is a huge risk as we look back there at Tim Wortman Jr. in that number 83 machine. He's really trying to get up there with his teammates, and you can see he's got a pretty substantial damage to the front nose of that car.
Yeah, massive amounts of damage. Now this second group has, in the third group, actually as well, that was also kind of dropped behind, I guess, really the third and the fourth group, I should say. They've all kind of come back together. Now they have to chase down. They got about 4.5 seconds to the next couple cars, and that is Wade Palmer and Drew Balestrius there in the 22. And those 2 drivers have been able to hold themselves together and pull away from the second group just by themselves, but they are not losing a lot of time to the top 7.
They certainly are, and that top 7 that we've got up there, we'll go back and take a look at it. Kevin Winker, Trevor Absher, Jesse Calloway, Jesse Wise, Chuck Stevens, Nathan De La Russa, and Pete Woodrum are in that front pack, and man, these guys are really trying to do whatever they possibly can to stay single file here and get away from the rest of these guys behind them.
Yeah, exactly right. These guys are battling hard back here in the second group.
And
Pizza?
Jared, this early on, these guys are going to do whatever it possibly takes to really keep this line going here, just because they really want to. And sorry, I realize I muted myself for the broadcast, but not for you guys there, as we have Ed Boyles up in the booth with us. He's actually an admin of this league, and he's kind of acting as our pit reporter, kind of giving us the insight information so that we know what's going on in these drivers and for as far as strategy and things like that. Ed, you got any idea of what these guys are looking to do here now as we complete lap 26?
So far, the only guys that we've gotten to actually talk to are the Joe Gibbs guys, and they actually need to pit. They're on a off pit strategy, and they were talking about pitting, but as you see, Jimmy Absher just went a lap down just before. But I haven't been able to get too much more info yet.
All right, we'll have to keep checking in with you throughout the rest of the night here as you're able to do what you do and get into the minds of these, kind of acting as our crew chief up here in the booth.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be trying to get in with that RCR crew and see what happened there before with that little mishap.
Absolutely. And it looks like we've actually got a couple of takers on pit road as we're going to switch over to our NASCAR ticker so that way we can show you our pit information as it comes up. You'll see it at the bottom of your screen. So as guys are starting to pit, and you can actually see a bunch of guys peeling off at the moment trying to make their way down pit road.
After pitting now, that's going to be a two-stop race now at this point. I mean, we got basically, 28 and then around 56 or so. Everybody coming down pit road now. We got all kinds of different strategies, and now you have to figure out what your partner is going to be doing because you don't want to be left out there by yourself. We got some more drivers, looks like, coming down pit road as well.
We certainly do, and that's going to be an interesting strategy here because you mentioned it. You kind of need these guys that you've been running around with. If you're not able to do so, that's going to make this a little bit difficult. And now if you're in that lead group, you got to figure out when you're going to pit, and it looks like right now is the answer.
Right now is the answer. All these drivers down pit road, everybody in that group coming down pit road, even the second group coming down pit road, Kenny Coppola, Tim Wortman, all those drivers coming down pit road. Everybody's really coming down pit road right now, Chris. That was the pay window.
It certainly is, and these guys, they're really trying to figure out exactly what it is it's going to take to make it through the rest of this race. You can see there, it looks like the 55 machine actually ended up missing its stall, and that's valuable time here.
Yeah, a lot of time that is going to, and that's the crucial thing on these super speedways is getting in and off, on and off pit road as quickly and as efficiently without getting a penalty as possible. And we see some drivers taking just fuel only and maybe 2 tires. We got the 87 of Jesse Calloway. He decided to do 4 tires. So did Charles Stevens. That's going to cost them some time here, as you were alluded to earlier, Chris.
It certainly will. And one driver right ahead of this lead pack, the last car is Jameson Middleman in the 16. It looks like that's exactly what he did as well. He's going to end up being the front end of this pack when it looks like everything cycles out in that number 16 machine. But your leader, after all of that, is still going to be Kevin Winker.
Kevin Winker, great job on and off pit road.
I was just going to jump in real quick. Wade Palmer, the 5th, looked like the big loser on pit road as he came in right behind Drew Balestros, and now he's actually way behind that second group that was catching him.
Well, you hear that, a little bit of lost time there by the number 24 machine as he was unable to keep up with the cars in front of him. And Jared, one of the interesting things about iRacing and how it works is really it has nothing to do with how your crew, if you will, takes care of your car. It's whether or not you speed, you're slower getting on and off of pit road, and exactly kind of where you're positioning yourself in that box. If you're too far forward, you can lose a little bit of time. Too far forward or backwards, and really, if you slide through your stall, that can really cripple you here.
Oh yeah, that's where you make up all your time. You got to make sure you're in the box correctly, or you can lose some time. You got to make sure you get on and off pit road good. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen there. And Kevin Winker, guys, while you were dissecting all that stuff, he got out to a big lead, and unfortunately, he got out to too big of a lead. And Nathan De La Rosa and Trevor Abster were able to just kind of fly by him and take over the top spot.
And you can see exactly what's happening as they catch that 16 car. They're able to really fly by on the outside there just because of the draft. 16's best hope is going to be to get in behind these guys and actually ride along. Not going to be that easy, though, with that damaged up front end on the 16 machine.
That 16 car just drops. And that little bit of damage will do it. But these first couple guys here, the 26, the 19, and the 57, way out in front. They have Jesse Calloway, who's trying to push with the 17 in front of him, trying to get back up there, but he's losing time every single lap. He's just not going to have enough time, not enough help, I should say, to get back up to this top 3. And then Kenny Coppola, Wortman, Kelly, and Charles Stevens, and kind of leading that second group.
They are, and you can see those 3 on your screen, really bumper to bumper there, and you can see the 83 is doing all that he possibly can to push that 77. I mean, he is just sliding on that bumper all the way down the backstretch.
He's doing everything he can, but I mean, when it's 2 on 3, you're definitely at a disadvantage. His only hope would be if this second group or I guess technically the third group of the 77, 83, the 3, and the 20 can somehow catch up to him. Now they are catching about a half a second a lap, so that I mean they're probably going to catch him in the next 15 or so laps, I would think, and that would probably help them get back to the front. But that's going to also add some more drivers that you have to contend with for the win.
It certainly will, and it'll be interesting to see how this race plays out with all these different strategies, and really with this green flag run. As we switch back to our tower, you can see we're on lap 33 here with a 3-car breakaway out front. You've got Nathan De La Rosa, Trevor Absher, and Kevin Winker in that first pack. Then behind them, you got Jesse Calloway, who is working there with the lap car of, and I believe that is Jimmy Absher there in that number 18 machine on my end, which is really not hurting him, because at this point the 18's still clean. They're just trying to do whatever they can to get back up there. Then you can go back all the way to, sorry, as I'm trying to move something out of my way, you can go all the way back to Kenny Coppola, and they are really far behind. They are 6 seconds behind your leader here with this 4-car now, because it looks like Chuck Stevens has actually caught up to the bumper of them. They're going to do whatever they can to catch that second group, and really it's going to be a hard-fought battle. And then behind them, you have to go all the way back to Wade Palmer the 5th to be able to find another group of cars. You got Wayne Palmer, Marcus Newbacher, and Drew Bestros there. Wade Palmer may have lost a little bit of time on pit road, but is able to make it up, probably just because of who he came out with. That ends up making up your third group here, or fourth group if you will, and they are still 11.5 seconds behind your leader.
And we're almost to halfway too, a couple laps shy of halfway, so this race is getting done quick right now. So we know they have one more pit stop to do in this race, and you really have to take it anytime. Basically, with 28 laps to go, it looks like is when they could pit. So
yeah, 28 laps to go will end up being as as I'm reading some of the comments here, it seems like it's going to be a pretty hard fought out battle. And now that we've got all these cars separated like this, Jared, it's a little bit more tricky, because it's less opportunity for cautions to actually happen here, and that's really what a bunch of these guys need to be able to get their way back up into this pack. Because as you look at it, Coppola and that 77, they're making up a little bit of time on your leader. It's roughly about a 10th every lap. Behind them, Chuck Stevens Wade Palmer the 5th, they're losing time leader. They've lost second since we checked in with them last. That's just your top 10. Usually this track is pretty tight knit racing, where you can throw a blanket over almost the entire field. That's not the case because of this long green flag run with pit stops intertwined.
Exactly right. And if you bring up the track map there, Chris, you'll see that these guys are going to start encountering some lap traffic pretty soon, and that'll also, change the dynamic of this race as well, as they continue to kind of bring up cars or catch cars and add more to their group.
Certainly, and you can see it there. We show position up, and that's that number 1 machine that's circled there, kind of going down the back straightaway. About halfway down it, then you have almost a quarter of a backstretch back to 4th place there. That's where your Kenny Coppola and those drivers are driving at the moment. They've now picked up about 0.4 of a second just in that last lap, so they're gaining some momentum with 4 cars versus 3. That's just how important the draft can be here, Jared.
Exactly right. I mean, that's all there is to it. It's just the draft is that important, and now you got that second group kind of starting to make a headway, because they've added some more drivers to it, and that's what Jesse Calloway needed. But the Kenny Coppola, Wortman, Kelly, Charles Stevenson train kind of ran right around the 87. Didn't take him very long to get by him. The 87 not able to kind of latch onto the back of him, which I was a little bit surprised about, and he might not be a factor now.
No, not at all. And you can actually see as we ride along with Kenny Coppola in the far, far distance, you can see that leaders going into 3 here, Jared. Still quite a ways away, but there's at least that opportunity. You can see them. That means you're going to catch them, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep going, right? I mean, they are gaining, looking like. Let's see what the lap times are coming across the line here. So the leaders, they just did a 50.09 and a 50.1. And Kenny Coppola is coming across the line. Actually, the last lap, sorry, it's just not updating. So 49.8 for De La Rosa and a 49.8 for Kenny Coppola. So they actually didn't gain anything that lap,
No,
which is not good news.
and you can actually see it as we pull it up here. They actually were almost, well, just about 200 slower than your lead pack from that last car in line, Winker in the 57. So that's a pretty substantial thing, as they seem to be stalling out here. And I really think what helped them catch up was that they were catching up to that 2-car breakaway that was in front of them with Jimmy Absher and I believe that was Callaway, and that was actually what helped them kind of make up a little bit of time. But as soon as they caught them and passed them, it ended up hurting them lap time wise.
Yeah, it did. And the other part that's going on here is those three drivers, Coppola, Wortman, and Kelly, have managed to somehow drop Charles Stevens. And I've been following this group the entire time. It just looked like they just had a little bit more, linkage going on there. They dropped the 20 car, and he is now well off the back. He has lost the draft of this group, and that's actually going to hurt these three drivers because they are going to lose that fourth horsepower. But even despite that, they were actually 0.3 of a second quicker that last lap. So I think that maybe some of that traffic and maybe some of that indecisiveness in this group actually hurt them that lap. Let's see what it is this time. So the leaders just did looks like a 50.1. And let's see what Coppola does here as he comes across the line in the lead of this second group. And Chris, he is going to put down, it looks like, a 49.8. So he picked up 0.6 of a second. They're coming.
They certainly are, and you can actually see it on the you can see it on your tower there. The leader ran a 50.34, and Coppola, leading the second group, ran a 49.84. So these guys, they're really doing everything they can, but the problem that they're going to run into, I believe, Jared, is the leader, they've caught another pack. That's Matt Mackin there right behind them, or in front of them with the 41 machine of, and they're going to pass by them right here really quickly. The best thing that they can hope for is that those two drivers can stay in their draft, and doesn't look like it's going to happen as those two, the 9 and the 41 make contact.
Yeah, that's not what you want to happen if you're trying to get back up to the lead group. Those two drivers make contact there. Luckily, I think both of them were trying to go for the same piece of real estate. And now Coppola and company, they're going to have to catch up to the back of these two lap traffic and hope that they can cycle in somehow. But I'm feeling that they might be down on power.
It certainly seems that way. We know that Matt Mackin had a little bit of damage early on. Certainly's got more damage now after that contact with the 41, and you can see just the whoa as Matt Mackin got really close to the 77, almost taking the Goodyear off of that car.
Matt Mackin and the 9, the car is not handling very well. It's the only thing I can think of. I mean, there's something going on with that car, maybe some damage, but definitely looks a little bit. Yeah, he's definitely got some damage on the back end of that car. Might be affecting the handle.
And just because of that, actually, now that this second group has actually lost a little bit of time on your leaders, just because it looks like they had to check up here. And as they were running side by side, they weren't as tight as the lead group. So the lead group was able to extend their lead a little bit. Not that much, but definitely just about a 0.2 of a lead.
Guys continue to battle with 41. It looks like he might have an opportunity to stay with these three drivers, but it doesn't look like it. And we do have some pit stops going on. Marcus Neubacher in the 18 machine calling out. He's pitting, so the window opening for some of these drivers to pit.
Certainly is, and you'll see as these drivers make their way to pit road, you'll see it on the bottom of your screen, and right there it is. Marcus Neubacher has made his way to pit road. Behind him, it looks like Jeffrey Oates and Bawalda as well. A lot of different drivers now electing to go ahead and get that pit stop underway. But up front, it is still the same three that have been up here since the first cycle of pit stops under green happened, Nathan De La Rosa, Trevor Apsher, and Kevin Winker trying to hold on as long as they possibly can. You can see cars pulling off of pit road right there in front of them. Those drivers will have to leave back there now a lap behind. They're going to try to get orderly here. That was actually probably the best group of cars getting in and out of pit road that we've had here tonight, Jared, as they all came off together.
They did a good job getting on and off pit road there. But now this has kind of thrown things into a loop, right? We only went, Chris, about 20 laps on that run, or about 24 laps on that run. And we got 30 laps to go. And I was estimating about 28 laps of fuel. So I don't know. This might have been a little bit early for these guys.
And Jared, I forgot to mention to you, as it looks like our lead pack are going to go ahead and pit here. They run with 50% fuel in this race.
Well, there you go. And that might they might still have another pit stop here. I'm not sure. It's going to be close.
And you saw it there live. Trevor Apsher got a little bit of damage there from that was Kevin Winker as they were coming into pit road. Trevor Apsher really got hard on the brakes coming into it, and because of it, I think Winkler, who was behind him, didn't expect it and kind of slid as well right into him.
Yeah, that was not good. 57 down away, 3 down away, 83 down away. So that second group, the 77, all those guys that were in that second group, they're coming out right with the race leaders.
They certainly are. You can see it there. Tommy Kelly is the first one of that group of 3 or 4 cars. As Trevor Apsher and Winkler actually got into each other there.
That was strange. Contact on the apron. I don't know what happened there, but the 57 decided to go. It was time to go, and he wasn't going to wait around. Made the pass on the apron, that interesting move.
It was an interesting move. The only issue that he's going to run into, Jared, is that he crossed that yellow line. That's most likely going to end up giving him a black flag for an unsafe exit of pit road there. That's not going to be good for his hopes of winning this thing, as he'll have to make his way back down to pit road.
Staying out right now. It might have been, it was close. I was looking at it, it was very close, but I don't know, it doesn't make any sense because these guys are going to go catch up to him and fly by him on the outside. So I'm not sure what the urgency was there. And well, they didn't actually go around.
No, I think they were all catching up to speed at the same time. It may be in that 3 and 83 and 77 that'll have to work together to get around all of them, those teammates there, bumper to bumper. We saw them catch this group. Now they got to figure out how to get around them.
Chicken.
And seems like Ed's joined us with an update from what he's heard from pit road. Ed, what are you hearing down there?
I was actually just watching that replay of Winker. Trevor Apsher actually slowed down on the track, and because they're all coming off the speed there, they should be about 120 miles an hour, and Trevor Apsher slowed down to about 87. He wasn't accelerating. Maybe he didn't want to get too far in front of that pack, but I don't think that was Winker's fault.
He may have actually missed a shift as well, and when he did so, put it in neutral there, and that may have actually been what cost him that momentum, because it just gave him a split second of trying to remember what it was, what gear he needed to be in, and threw his rhythm off there.
Yeah, Winker's still out there, so he must have not gotten a black flag from that.
And you can see he is leading this pack here. Thanks for jumping in and giving us that information there, Ed. And Jared, these guys, now it seems like they're kind of content now that it's a 5-car pack here to kind of just ride around here.
Well, I think these guys don't really have a choice at this point. I mean, you're kind of stuck there, and you have to figure out who you're going to work with from this group. But it is 3 teammates in this group, but Kevin Winker in that 57 has dominated this event here tonight, and he's led pretty much every lap of the race, and he has done a great job. But now it's crunch time at this point with 25 laps to go.
It certainly is, and looking at your top 10 here, the real person who lost out on a lot of time back here running all by himself, Nathan De La Rosa in that number 26 car, who went into the pits as the leader.
Yeah, and he was took over that lead after when Winker went to pit road, and he has dropped back by himself. I mean, this is what is so important at Talladega and Daytona and those type of tracks. You have to be so good getting on and off pit road. And you look at it, his pit lane time was 4.5 seconds slower, actually 8 seconds slower than Tommy Kelly, Trevor Absner, so and 4 seconds slower than Kenny Coppola. So I mean, you're looking at it, and that's where his difference is right now. And he's just going to continue to lose time.
He certainly is. His best hope is the number 20 car back behind him there. That 20 car bunched up with Callaway and the 87 with Ballesteros and the number 22. And actually, no, that looks like the 41 is actually riding there with him. That 3-car pack there is what he is going to end up hoping that he can fall into, as they're catching him pretty quickly.
These guys, that's his only hope. But we've seen before the 20, the 87, and the 41 were all dropped by that 3-car tandem of the 77, 83, and the 3. They weren't able to stay with them, so I don't know what else. But we also have another group here, and that's led by Matt Mackin in the 9 machine and the 22 machine of Drew Ballesteros all over the back of that 9 machine. Also Wade Palmer, the 5th in this group, and they might have something to say before this is all over, as the 22 is caught by that second group.
They certainly will hope to do so. The problem is Matt Mackin, he's not on the lead lap here tonight. He is, I believe, a couple laps down at this point, Jared, after that contact early on. Your outside pole sitter not exactly having the night that he was hoping for in that number 9 machine.
No, he's not, but he can still lead the guys behind him to a chance here. And as that was going on, the 26 was caught by that second group of the 41, 87, and the 20. And let's see if they can make a headway. But if you look at that camera, the 9 car, that group is catching this second group. So it's not going to be too long until they are there.
No, not at all. Now the 20, the 87, the 41, and I believe that is the number 87, sorry, number 26 of De La Rosa. They're really going to try to get as tight as they possibly can. And actually, the 41 has kind of slid back from that number 87 machine of Callaway. Is able to make it up right there, coming out of the corner there, kind of just laying back to try to get up there and get a little bit of a slingshot. See the 41 peeking out to the outside there. Oh, all the way down to the apron.
That car is not handling good either. You got to run, and that car was all the way sideways coming through the turn. Going into turn 3, and that's going to cost the 26 some time as well, and it's going to hurt this second pack and make it even more easy for that third pack to catch back up to it.
It certainly will. It's going to be a big issue for those guys, and it looks like for some reason it's showing caution on our display, but it's actually still green here at Talladega.
Still under green, and we got 20 ish laps to go, so we're getting down to it. And these guys up front, the 11, they have just passed the 11 car. They've also attached themselves with the 4 and the 69, which is going to make it even more difficult for that second group to make a move and catch back up, because 3 lap drivers have have latched on to the back of this lead group and could play a pivotal role in the way this race ends.
It certainly can. And looking at your time here from the top 20, you have several different groups here, but when you go all the way back to the 20th place car, 48 seconds behind these leaders, or rather just a few seconds in front of them, that's going to be a pretty substantial issue, is that's going to put only 19 cars on the lead lap, and these leaders, they're really putting down some fast lap times.
Doing a good job, and that's what they need to do, is put down these kind of lap times. What the guys behind them need to do is for them to get caught in some traffic, get slowed down a little bit, and I don't see that happening right now as they continue to just increase that gap. It's all the way up to 8.7 seconds now as Coppola, we missed something as Coppola has dropped off this group, and maybe with those lap traffic, so he is now almost being caught by that second group.
He certainly is. You can see Coppola there now scored almost 10 seconds behind his teammate Wortman Jr. and that 83 machine. Really unfortunate for Kenny, but once again, he's got that group behind them as they're going to freight train him on the outside.
Yeah, there's something Coppola and 77 can do there, so he's just going to have to wait, pull it down, and then try again and latch onto the back of these guys. But unfortunately, I think the chance of winning is going to slip away for these guys. The 87 bump drive from the 20 through the turn. Contact! And the 20's down on the apron. Does a great job holding on to it. Almost had a big one, Chris.
We almost did, and you actually saw that from Kenny Coppola's cockpit view there as it happened right in front of him. And look what it did to this group, as now they're fighting side by side. The 26 is going to get hung on the outside there. Coppola is going to go to the inside. Kind of the best case scenario for him was those groups, those guys going side by side, as he was able to blend into this pack because of it.
That did not work out for Kenny Coppola, and these guys are going to lose time. 41, there's contact that time. That's going to do it. That might bring out a caution. 41 around.
Yeah, you saw it there. We were still riding with Kenny Coppola in the 77 as the 41 went for a huge ride there.
But he is deep enough on the track. I think that's going to keep us green. It is. And Ryan Lewis a lap down, and it just looked like maybe just didn't have a handle on that car. I couldn't really tell from the angle I had, but either way, he has spun out there, and we're staying green with 18 laps to go.
And while we have a moment, we'll hop back on board here. You're riding with him. You can see it. He just gets churned right there. Does a really, really good job until he hits that inside wall there. That's going to be unfortunate for him. You can see that he immediately puts it back into gear and keeps it going the right way. But man, Jared, that's a real unfortunate moment for Rye Lewis.
Yeah, extremely difficult, extremely bad situation there for Ryan Lewis. But we're just trying to get some, a solid finish out of the night. Was a lap down in 21st position. He's on pit road with probably some damage. He hit that inside the wall a ton, and likely his night over with at this point in time. But up front, Winker, Abshner, Kelly, and Wortman have opened themselves up, and all those lap cars they passed, they didn't actually stick with this group. That's how quick the pace these guys are doing. And doing a good job of laying down a great pace tonight. Nobody's been able to stick with these four drivers.
No, they certainly haven't. You can see 57, 19, 3, and 83 right there all together. That is your top group. Callaway, Stevens, Rosa, and Coppola. Well, I guess you can say Coppola has kind of now been caught by the third group there, with the 22 leading the way there.
Got a wreck on the entering the triangle. Kenny Stamper in the 30 machine, heavy contact. Didn't see exactly what happened to that number 30 machine, but it looks like he had a little bit of help from the 42 coming into that tri-oval. Yes, a little bit of contact, kind of the same situation with the 41. Heavy impact into that sidewall. That was a big impact, but we stay green.
It certainly here it looks like that was the number 3 machine. We went through it as you were talking about it, Jared. That's pretty much going to hurt the chances of that number 3, as at this point he's going to have to use a fast repair. Still going to lose a lap, and the car blew up going to pit road, so that made it just that much more difficult for the 3 machine.
A one lap driver able to latch on to this lead group. That's the 18 machine there. He is a few laps down in this race, but that he could be something to kind of keep an eye on as this race goes on, because he will be a wild card in this group. But the other thing for him is, he's trying to get a good finish, represent well for, his team there. So he wants to get as many positions. If you stick with the lead group, they're knocking these guys down left and right. It's Kenny Coppola on pit road.
Yeah, you see it there on the bottom of your screen. Kenny Coppola is on pit road as well as the 21st place.
I wonder, if these guys have decided they can't make it. I mean, if you're running single file or running by yourself like Coppola was for a large portion of that run, you're going to burn a lot more fuel. When you're in the draft, or if you're the lead car, or if you're in the draft, you're not using as much fuel. But if you're the lead car, you're going to burn some fuel as well, as we see the 2 machine on pit road. So I just wonder if these guys kind of pushing it out just a little bit too much, as Coppola exiting pit road right around where the leaders are.
Yeah, you see the 2 here now on pit road. This is certainly going to be an interesting thing going forward here, is now a lot of different guys having a lot of different strategy, Jared. And that lead group, you can only imagine that they're just going to have to make another pit stop here at the end, and it's really going to come down to that pit stop and who gets out first. That's going to be pretty much the money stop here.
Money stop is the key. If these guys can't make it to the end, me personally, I would be on pit road now. If I couldn't make it to the end of this race, I'd be coming to pit road ASAP. We see the 18 machine not on the lead lap. He's ducking off the lead group. He's on pit road. So now we got a lot of questions coming up with 15 laps to go.
15 laps to go, but it'll feel like an eternity for a lot of these different drivers here. Now we can only assume with farther back, a lot of different drivers electing to pit. Now it's only a matter of time before this lead group does. These 4 drivers here, that's really going to be what everyone's going to be watching here. Behind them now, there's only 11 cars on the lead lap here just because of this cycle of pit stops that is going on right now. You'll see everything right here as we're going to stay live for the remainder of the event unless we get a caution, Jared.
Yeah, we're doing a marathon here. The leaders are in. And caution's out. Wow. And the 19, that's the 19, almost hit that cone. And almost, these guys were almost caught out there by that caution.
Wow, that is going to change everything here, Jared, as that's going to trap a bunch of drivers a lap down. We're going to have a lot of drivers that are going to end up taking the waiver round. Right now, it looks like there's only 8 drivers that are currently scored on the lead lap, and it looks like Wayne Bowen was involved in this one.
Well, it looks like it actually started with the 29 and the 69, I apologize. 69 gets in the back of the 22, the 22 shoots up the track, and the 11 car nowhere to go, as well as the 4 car involved as well.
Absolutely, and we're going to ride along with the cockpit view of Wayne Bowen here, and you'll see exactly what happens right in front of him. You can see those 2 drivers getting side by side. Bam! Nowhere for the 11 to go. That looks like the number 22 car there was completely sideways in front of him. That's now the 2nd time Wayne Bowen has been involved in a wreck here tonight, Jared.
Yeah, it is, and that's probably going to end his chances tonight. I think he's already used that fast repair. But what heads-up driving by the 57 of Kevin Winker and the 80th, the 19th Trevor Absner, because those guys could have been caught on pit road, or worse, could have entered a closed pit, because the caution came out before they were been on pit road. So that pit road closes right when that light comes on, and they could have been serving a black flag, which would have been done.
It certainly was. Now you can see it here. It looks like they knew that it was coming. Now it's all about this stop here. We're going to watch along. You can see the 3 car now into the pit lane. That's Tommy Kelly, currently scored as your leader as they led him to pit road. Going to give it up to Kevin Winker as he has a farther down the pit lane pit stall. We'll have to watch these guys coming off the pit lane here to see who ends up taking this spot away, this lead here, this valuable moment here for these drivers. And the 3 leads them off of pit road. Right behind him, Tim Mormon Jr., John Bawalda the third, and Winkler going to end up there. Looks like he's going to be the 4th person off of pit lane here. You can see the rest of the drivers filing off as well.
We also had some guys stay out. That was Wade Palmer, the 5th in the 24 machine, electing not to come in pit road. He came in right before this caution came out on lap 61. Was very, very close, and almost somebody appeared right on top of his car. Very lucky that wasn't a big problem. But the 24 machine heads up pit strategy there, and he is going to cycle out to the lead here. All these drivers in front of him either are going to come in this time or they're going to take the waiver.
They certainly are. It's going to be interesting to see what these guys do, and this is a pretty substantial change of events here for a lot of different drivers, Jared. This is going to bunch them all back up together after that lead group of 4 cars had done everything they possibly could to get away from these guys.
Yeah, and now it's a totally different race, right? We're going to get the restart with inside 10 laps to go, which is going to be insane at Talladega. And all these other drivers that were disconnected from the top 4, they have another shot, maybe one last shot at this victory.
They certainly do. And Jared, we're going to take a quick commercial break here, and we will be right back.
fight on.
Jared, while we're under caution here, we're about to go back green, but before we do, I want to talk a little bit about a young lady who could use some thoughts and prayers here tonight and in the future here. Cassie Schuler, I believe that's how you say her last name. I apologize if I got it wrong. She's a 15-year-old girl out of North Carolina. She ended up having a cardiac event on a softball field in the middle of her game. Ended up going to the hospital. She got put on a ventilator, but she's off of it now. She's been diagnosed with a heart disease called ARVC, which really affects her right ventral muscle, and really a lot of the iRacing and real racing community has come together to support this young lady. Justin Allgaier, you see his car up on the screen there, the number 7 car running with a decal for Cassie, and then also you got Noah Gregson also, he is right there as well. His car in the number 9 machine also has a decal for her as well at the lamp. These drivers, they're about to go back green here, but I'm going to take a moment to give this young lady a shout out. There is a GoFundMe, I'll link it in the broadcast so that everyone can see it here, so that way you know exactly where you can contribute if you're able to do so. We're about to go back green flag here. We'll talk more about it when we get an opportunity to do so.
Looks like the green flag actually back out, Chris. And these guys side by side going into turn 1. We got 3 wide action already. 57 hung out to dry on the high side.
He certainly was.
Contact.
We got back in here just in enough time to see it. You can actually see there that Tommy Kelly really got out of shape there as well in that number 3 machine, as he got a little bump from behind.
Yeah, it actually got bumped in the door by the 20 machine, and that's going to send them back. And this has changed everything up, as now the 83 car by himself on the outside of the 24 can't get it done. Now these guys behind him, 16 checkup, 22 rear-ended, 77 rear-ended, they hold on to it.
Wow, and you got a huge battle going on here in the back of this pack. 3 wide racing, the 43 in the middle. 42, 3, 43, they're really aggressive here. The 4 going to look underneath the 43, almost 4 wide there. Little bit of contact, able to make it through, but Tommy Kelly is now dropped all the way back to in this pack. This is a complete change from where he was before this caution.
Well, the 22 car going right through the middle of the 57 and the 2, and that's what I was looking at, the 57 with heavy front end damage from that massive checkup, and that's insane when you think about the fact that he was leading this race, dominated this race. I think he's led almost every lap in this race until recently, and the 3 car was also up there. Oh, and the 3 car gets hit from behind by the 2, somehow holds on to it. These guys are going for it now at this point, Chris.
They certainly are, but you can see the damage on the back of that number 3 machine. That is pretty substantial damage, especially at a plate, well, at a super speedway with that thing being up in the air. Not going to make an easy time around here. As we'll catch back up with Tim Mormon Jr. as he got hung on the outside there going for the lead. Unfortunately, it's going to end up putting him all the... Oh, is there a wreck in front of them?
They're wrecking him. Then that's the 24, the leader involved, 78 involved, 26 involved.
Wow. And that's going to bunch them all up again here, Jared. A lot of guys saving that fast repair. Well, it just went out the window.
And this is all started by the 19 just getting underneath of the 24 and turning them. I mean, that's all there was to it, unfortunately.
It certainly was. We'll pull up a better replay here so we can get an idea of exactly what happened. But it looks like these drivers, a lot of them just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Behind them, the 24 car just got sent around, and really going to change the complexion of this race, even with us just coming back from caution, Jared.
This race has gone upside down a couple times here, but this caution is definitely going to change everything because it's we're getting down to the end of it. I mean, when they take this officially take the caution here, we're going to have 6 laps to go in this race.
And you can see it right there. Trevor Apsher gets just a little bit aggressive move into the corner there, sends the 24 around, and really at that point, it was just nowhere for anyone behind them to go. And wow. I mean, he collects the 20. Just a lot of different drivers here involved in this one, Jared.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate at the end of the day. I mean, just when the leader is involved in a wreck, that means there's everybody behind you, and that's exactly what happened there. And we will see now how this different complexion of the race is going to change up as the 19 and the 20 are going to be the 2 leading drivers. And all those drivers we talked about earlier in this race that were dominating, the 57, he is no longer in the picture at all.
Not at all, and it's going to be a tough night for a lot of different drivers. As you can see now, it looks like Wade Palmer, the 5th, is going to make his way to pit road. We'll have to watch to see if he's able to get that fast repair and get back out on the track. And we're following along now, and stops in the box, and boom, right there, brand new car. 24 are going to roll back out, be competitive, not going to lose a lap.
Yeah, as long as you have that fast repair in the bucket, you're able to get back out there. But luckily for those guys, that they have one still waiting.
An interesting call here by the 19 and the 20. The 20 plowed into the 24. There may be a little bit of a connection issue that helped out with it, and maybe that's why. What it's going to be interesting to see how that 20 does, because he definitely ran into the 24 machine. And we'll look in here, and it actually looks like a clean car, so it may have been a little bit of phase luck there for Chuck Stevens in that number 20 machine.
Yeah, and that's going to set everything up again to see what is going to happen at the end of this race. Can the 83, another driver that was up front, can he get back up there? You got the 95, with some rear end damage. What does he have left in the tank? We got the 42. He was off the back, Chris. He was 31st place, 5 or 6 seconds behind 30th early in this race. We haven't talked at all about him, I don't believe. Here he is in 6th place. We have a lot of newcomers up in the front.
We certainly do. Jesse Calloway, Wade Palmer the 4th, and Warren Young, John Bowata the 3rd, and even after pitting there, the 24 rounding out your top 10 of Wade Palmer the 5th. So 6 laps here to go. We're going to go green with, I believe, 4 laps to go, Jared. That's going to make everything about this a little bit different. And I want to finish my thought about Cassie while we have the opportunity to do so. If you have the opportunity and you're able to help this young lady out, I will immediately post the actual link to her GoFundMe in the channel, and it is interesting to see. We've got a couple of drivers here tonight actually using or wearing that same decal, as we'll throw it up on your screen here so you can take a look at it. That is a number 17 Cast Strong. We'll look to see if we can find that number 16 car of Jameson Middlemiss, who I believe is running that decal here tonight.
And it's such an important cause. If you have the opportunity to check that out, because it's affecting a lot of people right now. It seems like a lot of childhood issues going on, and it's tough to see.
It is, especially after not having the ability to be out and active as much as everyone would hope to have been last year, just because of all the different things that were going on with COVID-19 and things like that. It's one of those things that where everyone's enjoying being actually out and back there and being active again, and you hate to see things like that. As we switch over to our end game, and you can actually see that decal there on the number 16 on the right behind the tire there, that Cast Strong logo, and that GoFundMe. I'm going to pull it up so that way I can actually share that with everyone on the broadcast here as well, because I definitely think that is pretty important for that family and for everyone in that community. And it's really great to see all the different guys that are able to do so. If you want to go to that link, it's gofundme.me/337AB3B4. That'll take you to that GoFundMe, and you can find out all about Cassie and the community that supports her. And we'd encourage you, if you're able to do so, to join in that. But if not, even just good vibes will certainly help that family and community a lot.
Yeah, we're about ready to get this thing revacked, and I have to say, Chris, it's going to be. I think the last restart with 10 to go was wild. I think this is going to be even wilder as the 57 is having to drop to the. Oh, there he goes. He's getting in line now, but lost a lot of time. Must have had a penalty or something, but my goodness, Chris, this is going to be an exciting restart. As basically it's a green-white checker without being a green-white checker.
It certainly is, and that's going to mean that we have an opportunity for a green-white checkered here. Only one attempt at those tonight. As you can see, the pace car is off the field here. Now we're going to have to watch everything that we possibly can to see what's going to go on here with 4 laps to go at Talladega.
They're back under green, Chris, and a great start by the 19 of Trevor Abshner. And these guys are all dicing back behind him and trying to find some racing room as the 43, the 42 into third place. Like I said, we haven't talked about him all night. Can he make something out of this?
And we've got a car blowing up in the back of this field, but not going to bring out the caution here. As you can see, the 42 pushes the 95, flips the 95 on the back straightaway. We're going to have a green-white checkered here, Jared.
Wow. 95 took a massive tumble down the back straightaway, and at the same time, the 83 super lucky. I believe that car went right over the top of him and didn't get any damage out of that, I don't believe.
Wow, and you can see Ken Ellert in that number 95 machine. He really went for a hard ride here, Jared. We're going to back it up from a different perspective so you can see exactly what happened. But man, oh man, not the night that Ken Ellert was looking for. And here it is on your screen so that you can watch along what happened here to Ken Ellert in that number 95, and really the 42 just pushing a little bit hard and a little bit aggressive here at the end of the race, and that's really what set this up. Coming out of the corner, going on the back straightaway there, you can see getting all up over that bumper of the 95, and bam, right there. And then Tim Wortman Jr. plowed through, maybe get a little bit of luck and it'll be another phasing incident on the track there, but just an incredibly difficult impact for Ken Ellert.
That's going to definitely do him in now his chance of winning this race. And man, that's now this is all amped up even more because the green-white checker is now going to happen, and these guys are basically the next flag once they go green is going to end the race. So you're basically racing to the flag, and that 42 machine, Sean Rhodes, I mean, he's already shown he's going to be aggressive. What about Wade Palmer, the 4th right there? Jesse Calloway back up here in the lead group. We got all kinds of storylines brewing, and somebody's going to take home that victory.
They certainly are, and it's going to be a tough one here tonight. And these guys are going to do everything that they possibly can. They want to be up here running for the win. They know what's on the line here, Jared. It is not just $125 for P1. We actually changed it so that way it would be more money to the winner here. Made it a little bit more of an ante, if you will. Going to make things a little bit more chaotic here. And these guys, they're going to do everything they can because I believe the last count, Jared, it was $175 to the winner.
That's a huge payoff, and that's got to be on these guys' minds. I got to say, it's definitely going to be something for them to get that prize.
It certainly is, and they're going to restack them here, Jared, with just only a green-white checkered here to go. They're aggressive. At this point, you're looking back through the top 10 here. You got Absher, Sean Rhodes, Wade Palmer the fourth, Jesse Calloway, John Bowalter the third, Chuck Stevens, Wade Palmer the fifth, Tim Wortman Jr., Warren Young, and Kevin Winker, after that damage to that machine, is now back up in the top 10. Who's your friend out here? It looks like, from my perspective, there's not many teammates left here, bumper to bumper, excuse me, to actually help make this move for you. So really here, you've got to figure out who you're going to go with, and you've got to figure it out pretty quick.
Got to figure it out, and then you got to figure out, are you okay on dumping that guy? And I don't mean wrecking him, but abandoning him as the race gets down to the end. I mean, you got to use what you can use at this point in time, and hope the guy behind you pushes him. But he's got his own agenda as well. He
certainly does, because there's a little bit at stake here. These guys want to make that money, and that's really going to matter the most here. And we'll have to check in to see if Ed was able to catch up with anyone to see if they were able to, if they're making deals down there, sending spotters to chat with each other.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to have to do at this point in time, is try to make a move and try to figure out who you can get to work with you at this point.
Yeah, and it looks like the actual payouts tonight, Jared, will be 175 to the leader, or to the winner of this race, 100 to second place, and 75 to third place. A lot up for grabs here, and everyone is going to be eager to try to get that P1 position.
This is going to be the last restart. So, Chris, now, if you're some of these guys back here, look about the 83 and the 24. They were leading this thing at one point in time in this race. The 57 dominated this event. I don't know if there's enough time for them to get back up there, but I think if they can make something happen here, you can't count out anybody in this top 10 to get the shot at this $175 prize.
You absolutely cannot, but I think, Jared, they're a little bit too far back for my comfort. I don't think I would be wanting to put my bet on them being so far behind. I think it's going to come from the third or fourth row here. That's going to put Chuck Stevens or Bowalta the third there in that number 2 machine. I think that's where your chances are best to win this race, with these guys battling up front. They're going to make their way down this long backstretch here at Talladega. Trevor Absher, Sean Rhodes, Wade Palmer the fourth, Jesse Calloway, Chuck Stevens your top 5. Behind them, John Bowalter the third, Tim Wortman Jr., Wade Palmer the fifth, and Kevin Winker in that number 9 position. It keeps changing on me. It looks like Warren Young is going to be in that 10th position as well. We're going to get ready to go back green here. It's going to be green flag, and the next flag ends it. It doesn't matter if it is the caution flag or the checker flag. It's all going to be coming down to who is where when that flag flies.
You see them, everybody they don't even give an inch on the little bit of a pace lap we got here. A pace car pulls off, Chris. We're about ready to get this thing going.
We certainly are. The pace car pulling off, but that's not where the restart zone is. They'll have to make their way through the tri-oval here to be able to actually get this thing underway here tonight. Trevor Absher going to lead them to that restart zone. And there they are, back green flag racing. Sean Rhodes in that 42 machine able to beat Trevor Absher to the line there, but that doesn't mean anything at this point. He's got to be able to get around him, and that inside line, they're a lot more grouped together than the outside is.
The 20 machine did not get going deeper back, Chris. The 83 all over the back of him, and just shoving him, just trying to get that 20 car to go, and he's just not going. Holding up that outside line. 57 with a big move down the inside, but up front the 19 with a big shove from the 43. And now we got a second groove forming. 87 and the 3 going to the high side. They're going to dump the 42 in the middle, and the 43 bumping through the corner, Chris, as they come to the tri-oval.
42 in the corner, in the middle. We just talked about how he was battling for the lead. Now he's all the way back 3 wide and dropping.
Wow, he almost wrecked right there. White flag in the flagman's hand, Chris. This is it.
It certainly is. And up front is Trevor Absher behind him. Oh, and there it is. That's the caution. That ends this race. We have a winner. Trevor Absher is going to get this win just by being able to avoid everything happening behind him. Wow.
What a race, and a big wreck behind him. And that's what caused this thing to end. As Marcus Newbacher and Pete Woodruff.
Certainly did. We'll go back real quick and take a look at exactly what happened here. You can see a pretty tight battle, 3 wide, and the 4 car just kind of went down a little bit into. It really was I believe it was the 87 machine, and that's really what caused that wreck there. Man, just hard racing back there for that pack.
Hard racing, but that's going to pay off for Trevor Absher, who's going to grab the win. Wade Palmer in second place, and Josh Buwalda in the 21. We haven't talked about him all night. He is going to finish in third place. Good run for him.
It certainly was a good run there for them. So we will take a quick break right now so we can gather up our podium finishers here tonight. And it is a madhouse. As you can see, all these drivers really congratulating Trevor on the backstretch there. We'll be right back.
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. A pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Well, we saw a lot of things happening here tonight, Jared. A lot of different strategies playing out. We had two very long green flag runs, but in the end, it didn't matter. Trevor Absher was able to bring it home, and I believe that you've caught up with the third place winner here. That is John Bawalda III.
Yeah, I'm down here with the driver of the 21 machine, John Bawalda III. John, what a run for you, finishing third here tonight. And I have to say, man, where did you come from there at the end of that race?
Well, me and some other JDM drivers, hanging back to the field and let it, that the guys sort themselves out in the front for the majority of the run. We had our own pit strategy, fuel cycles, everything else like that, and we just wanted to make sure that we were able to keep it clean and be there at the end to be able to make that run. Yeah.
You did a great job there at the end, and keeping your nose clean. That was the biggest thing in this race tonight, it seemed like. And talk us through the pit strategy. I mean, you guys were on a little bit different strategy. You're a little bit deeper in the field. If this thing stayed green, did you have something for him at the end, or was it basically you came down to that caution?
Oh, for sure. I really think that if we had even just that one lap that didn't go yellow, if we would have been able to, finish it under checkered flag, I think with a bump and run, I've been working with Warren Young all night. I think with the bump, and we would have been able to finish 1-2. We had strong cars, clean cars all night long, and it looked like the other two cars, at least the leader for sure, the Toyota, I don't remember what number he was, had a little bit of damage on his car. So I think if we would have been able to have one more lap, finish that lap under checkered flag, it would have been a different story.
It was definitely going to be close there, John. But congratulations on that third place run. I will turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word.
Well, I'd like to thank my team, Jack Dowel Motorsports, for everybody participating in tonight's race. We had one driver, our friend Tony, who's dealing with some family issues, who was not able to make it tonight. And but he did make it home in time to be able to watch the race from his rig and listen to communications from the Discord. So I want to thank him for that. Our sponsors, a lot cleaner. They've been able to help us do a lot, and even be able to help sponsor this race for this evening, and we hope to be able to do more later in the season. And again, just a huge shout out to the team and everything. We all work together, we all practice together, and we all finish up top 5 together. Didn't work out as well tonight, but if anything goes on a super speedway.
For sure, John. Well, Chris, that is their third place finisher, John Bawalda, and I believe you're down in victory lane with the winner tonight.
I certainly am. I have caught up with here tonight. That would be your winner of $175, Trevor Absher. Congratulations, buddy.
Hey, thank you, man. Just trying to pick up where I left off. You know how it is. Trying to run clean.
It's certainly a hard thing to do at a super speedway here, and a little bit of heartbreak kind of early on. These guys kind of were trying. Teammates there with Wayne Bowen, the 11, getting put sideways there. Not twice, but you were able to kind of get up there up front and really maintain the rest there. It's a little bit easy, kind of, it seemed like, for this number 19.
Yeah, I just tried to stay up front, stay out of the trouble. I had that incident with Wayne, which was honestly, in my opinion, just like the whole Wade incident. Like I didn't feel like I knew I was on him, but I didn't feel like I hit him. I had no inks or nothing. I don't know if it was netcode or what. Like, definitely with that Wade incident, I felt really bad because it was getting down close to the end of the race, and I turned them, and I don't know what happened. I haven't even went back and watched the replay, but I felt super bad. But, I mean, it is what it is. Super speedway. I mean, I did what I had to do. I mean, everybody that runs with me knows I don't run like that, so I'm not too worried about it. He was cool about it. I'm glad he was really cool about it. But, I just try to stay up front, stay out of trouble.
Certainly the easiest way to get around this place is to be up there in front, having to be a little bit aggressive to keep that machine up there. But I got to ask, who helps gets this number 19 machine to and from the virtual track?
Oh, it's most definitely my teammates, man. My teammates, they push me more than anything. I haven't been on in a while, just been kind of taking a break. Got back on here, and I just stayed up front and ran good. I want to thank Joe Gibbs Racing, my dad, all the teammates and everybody, and Jack Dowel for sponsoring the event. Man, it was fun. My dad kind of come up to me and was like, "Hey man, we're running a race tonight," and I'm like, $20 entry. I'm like, shoot, I'm down. So I had fun tonight. It was a good win. You know, I wish my teammates could have run a little better, but we pulled. Either way, Joe Gibbs pulled it out, so I ain't complaining.
Absolutely. Congratulations again. Your victory here tonight. A hard fought one, that's certainly for sure.
Yep. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for everything you do.
And Jared, we are unable to get up here tonight. Unfortunately, he was unable to talk to us here tonight. He had to hop off really quickly. I want to make mention there, the 21 machine of John Bellata III. That's actually a Jack Dowel Motorsports car. So not only was Jack Dowel Motorsports able to bring home a P3 finish here tonight, they actually sponsored this race, and kudos to them and their driver for being able to get up there. Certainly a hard-fought race here tonight. Certainly not the ending that we were expecting, but certainly one that hopefully the fans enjoyed.
It was definitely an entertaining race, and they came down to right at the very end, Chris, and a well-deserved win for Trevor Absner. And I would like to see what happened if it would stay green, but man, either way, great race.
It certainly was, and really that is just the beginning of the Lugz racing season, as next time you'll see us, we're actually going to start our season at Daytona. That is, I believe, on the 28th is our first race. You can catch that completely over on Verdane TV. This is just a special Loose Lugz racing event here. I want to do a quick shout out to all of the sponsors involved in this race. CS Racing, Levine Wraps, Butt Kicker, a lot of different people make this program happen. Verdane is one of our greatest partners, Fatheads Eyewear as well, and really, really a great opportunity here for this league. And thank everyone for tuning in and joining us here tonight. We'll see you next time at Daytona. But in the meanwhile, if you're looking to catch some action, Jared, you and I will be back in the booth tomorrow on Full Throttle Sim TV or Full Throttle Racing TV for the Dark Matter Cup Designs race. I believe we're at North Wilkesboro tomorrow night.
Yeah, we are, Chris. It's going to be a great time. Definitely check us out on Facebook at Full Throttle TV. We will have a lot of action this week, and Chris will be over there calling some of the action. So if you enjoyed what you heard tonight, you're definitely going to not want to miss out tomorrow.
Absolutely, that's right. Thank you again for everyone who tuned in. For Jared Carr, I'm Chris Spear. We'll catch you next time on the Loose Lugz Racing League channel.